doing there, Poppy? Hey. Hey, bedhead. Hey. What you doing? Are you getting the potatoes?
Yes.
What are you doing with the potatoes? Oh my goodness gracious. Did that scare you? Hey. That's not for you. Is that a baby potato?
Yes.
You want Frodo to sit? He might come sit with you. There. Frodo sits with you. Dog. Is it Frodo dog? I'm quite sure that for many of you, the state of my kitchen is remarkably untidy. Got things on the counter, things to feed the chickens and dishes, but for me, this is awfully clean. It has been the project of many days to get it so clean, actually. So I've not really made it too much of a secret that homemaking activities like cleaning or meal planning or tidying or what have you, not really my forte. It's just not a strength, but it's something that I really want to develop because I believe you can get better at that. I've been thinking about doing YouTube videos for it because I find sometimes pairing tasks a very unpleasant task with one that I actually like, namely cleaning or tidying or organizing or what have you, with doing a YouTube video, which I enjoy, as opposed to the other one, which I don't. Sometimes pairing those two kinds of tasks together can make me less resistant to them. So I've kind of been thinking about doing something like that, but I haven't really been sure because I'm not sure if that's like the best idea for this channel because it doesn't really have anything to do with homesteading. Homemaking, yes. Homesteading, not so much. I'm tempted to start a second YouTube channel just to do that kind of content, which isn't everybody's jam, I know. And I haven't started it yet. It's just something that's like been percolating in my mind. And so, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? In or out, Frodo? Really? Come on. My goodness. Oh my goodness, he's so excited. He's so oh my goodness. Stay in here. So you have this lovely fence and this lovely new gate, and somehow he still ends up at my front door and I don't know how he does it. Where are you getting out, Frodo? Huh? It is later than I normally let the animals out. I got a call from the school saying that my son had forgotten his big turkey project. He had to disguise a turkey so it wouldn't get eaten for Thanksgiving. He had forgotten it. So I had to drive that into school, which is fine, but it set me behind a little bit. So now all these birds are grumpy with me. Can we just acknowledge how fast the ducks have turned this area into mud? Like, that's really gross. And the chickens over here as well. You can see that they've scratched up the ground where they've been eating. So it's starting to get pretty bare over there as well. Huh. That little runner duck has made a nest. All right, so just as an illustration, they've had access to this one for approximately 30 seconds. It's looking fine. This one they've had access to a little bit longer. And then this one they've had access to for as long as it took me to fill up these two. And it's already like opaque. There is a reason that my family calls them yucks instead of ducks. And that's the reason. So I'm not gonna lie, the ducks are not my favorite animals on the homestead, but I do have a plan. So this is our high tunnel, and in here last year we grew a lot of peppers, a lot of tomatoes, we grew some basil, we grew some assorted things in the high tunnel. And then I tried to plant some fall crops in here, but then some bird or other, I don't know if it was a chicken or a turkey or multiple chickens and turkeys, they came in here and they just kind of destroyed everything and pulled everything up. And so I'm kind of left with a semi-blank space. There's a ton of weed and things like that that needs to be done in here. But I had an idea. So a lot of times people will put chickens in their garden to clean it up. Now you don't want chickens in your garden during the growing season because they will attack your food and they will eat it and they will peck holes in your tomatoes, and it's really annoying. So this past year was our first year using the high tunnel for anything, and it got a little bit late. My initial plan actually was to have the chickens in here so that they could scratch up all the grass and things like that, but I did not get them in here fast enough. So what I ended up doing is I ended up putting down paper, like a brown paper, as a base, which killed off a lot of the grass in the middle after I heaped soil on top of it, but it got so bad around the edges. Really bad. And so I was thinking about the chicken's superpower of scratching things up. I think what I'm gonna do is, there are a few of our chickens that refuse to go in the coop at night, and that is not safe for them. They are very vulnerable to predators and things, but they like to perch on top of the coop or next to the barn. So what I think I'm gonna do is those particularly stubborn chickens, I'm going to move in here, and they will help clean up. Hopefully they'll do the weeding around the edges, and then next year I will be able to start with a cleaner slate. Actually, Kat, you almost got locked in there. The chickens were one reason that the fall garden was not very successful. However, there was another, and it was a pretty big reason. My soil became somewhat hydrophobic. Now, in a garden, you are very much relying on your soil holding water so that, do you want to look at the turkeys? Here, you look at the turkeys. So in a garden, you're very much relying on your soil holding a lot of water, so that you don't have to water all the time. Now, mulch will help with this, but also the soil has to be ready to receive that water. Now, hydrophobic soil is soil that it doesn't necessarily repel it. It kind of does, but it can't break down the surface tension of the water enough to absorb it. This can happen when the soil hasn't had enough water in the first place. I suspect that I did not water enough in there. I watered enough for the tomatoes, but for the actual health of the soil itself, which is the growing medium, I did not water enough, I don't think. And so the soil in there, I think it got kind of hydrophobic, and I think that's another reason that I don't know that the fall garden would have lasted very well in there, because hydrophobic soil does not do as well for plants. Think of a desert. And so I got to thinking, after the chickens are done in there, I think what I'm going to do is I think I might actually take the ducks and their ponds in there. Now all the animals, if I put them in there, would help with the hydrophobic soil, because as you add life back into the soil, it's more receptive to water. So the chicken droppings, can do the bounce here. So the chickens, as they put fertilizer back into the soil by pooping in it, their manure will help add life into the soil. Well, so will ducks. And so I think what I'm gonna do is, after I have the chickens in there, I think I might put the ducks and their water back in there, because if there is one thing that ducks are good at, it is making just a huge mess and making things very wet. So that is my current plan for in there. We have not chucked the chickens in there yet, but I think we're going to do that pretty soon. Hello girls, how are you all? Lottie, how's it going? You're such a good goat. How are you doing, Hedwig? What a good girl you are. Did you ever get bred? Huh? Did those boys breed you? So a couple nights ago, as I was going through and locking all the chickens up at night, I was hearing Hedwig make just a huge fuss. She was being so loud. And at first, I thought that she'd gotten her head stuck in the hay feeder or something. But then when I came over and I shone the flashlight on the hay feeder, she wasn't there. Chill. Where she was, though, was she was right by that fence back there. And she was just wagging her tail and yelling, and all of these things are signs that a goat is in heat. So even though these guys were in with her earlier, she had not been bred. But we were actually really hoping for her to get bred. So since she was showing signs of being in heat, we put her in here with the boys, with the bucks, to hopefully get her pregnant so that she'll have babies, so that we'll have her milk next year. However, we've come across a bit of an issue. And that is the size difference. So Hedwig is a La Mancha, and she is a standard size goat. And then Buck Norris and Brandy Buck are both Nigerian dwarf goats, and they are, well, they're dwarf goats. They're smaller than she is. And I'm not entirely convinced that they can breed her. We tried to like help them out. The people on the road who can definitely see what we're doing in here must have thought we were absolutely bananas. We were like trying to hold her still and like hoist the boys up onto that hay bale out there, and like it was not fantastic. It was also not successful, at least not while we were out there. So I'm hoping that she's bred, but she may not be. If she isn't, I'm just going to assume that these goats are too small to breed her. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get a full-size buck like a Alpine Nubian La Mancha, something like that, to breed her next year. Okay, I have done what I can outside. I can't really do much more until my husband comes with a delivery of hay for the goats. So I'm gonna call it. Thank you for hanging out with me a little bit this morning. And we will see you in the next video. Let me know what you think about a different channel for decluttering. I'd appreciate that. That's all. All right, bye.